Good morning to all in Brazil. Good afternoon, good evening to those who are here from Asia. A warm welcome to all of you. My name is Leah Reichert. I am Deputy Director at the Brazilian Center for International Relations, CEBRI. And I would like to thank you all on behalf of CEBRI for joining us today to the event, Brazil-ASEAN Relations and the Energy Transition. This event is part of CEBRI's China Analysis Group, a historic series of discussions on China, its region, and relations with Brazil, organized in partnership with the Chinese Bank of Communication, BOCOM BBM. Larissa Waschholz, Senior Fellow at CEBRI and Coordinator of the China Analysis Group, could unfortunately not be here with us today, but I take this opportunity to thank Larissa for organizing such an important event and bringing together such qualified participants. So today we will explore the promising prospects for the relationship between Brazil and the Asian region, particularly in the context of the energy transition. The region is an important trade partner for Brazil, and trade to the region has significantly increased in the past decades. As Brazil and ASEAN develop closer commercial ties and diplomatic ties, they have launched a sectoral dialogue partnership in 2022. The renewable energy sector and the green energy transition appears to be a promising avenue for cooperation between the two. So to address this, today's event brings together a remarkable group of speakers who are experts in their respective fields. We have the privilege of hearing from Ambassador Piragibe Tarrago, Special Envoy to ASEAN from Brazil's Ministry of Foreign Affairs, who will share with us the trajectory of the Brazil-Asian relations and the avenues for cooperation that lie ahead. Following Ambassador Tarrago, we have the privilege of welcoming as well Dr. Nuki Agia Utama, the Executive Director at the Asian Center for Energy. Mr. Utama will provide insights into the energy transition landscape in ASEAN and the potential synergies between the two regions in shaping a sustainable energy future. Last but not least, we will hear from Juliana Rangel do Nascimento from the Biofuel Studies Department at EPE, a public institution that plays a key role in energy planning in Brazil, and her expertise will shed light on what Brazil is doing in the energy transition, and specifically in the use of biofuels, which is a pivotal area in achieving a more sustainable energy system. As we engage with these discussions, I encourage you to actively participate by posing your questions in the Q&A session. And without further ado, I would like to invite Ambassador Piragibe Tarrago to make his first presentation. He is a senior ambassador at the Brazilian Ministry of Foreign Affairs. His main diplomatic posts include Deputy Permanent Representative to the UN in New York, Ambassador to Canada, Ambassador to the Netherlands, and Consul General in Hong Kong. He also occupied in Brazil positions as Undersecretary for Africa and the Middle East and head of the Economic Department. Since becoming Special Envoy to Brazil to ASEAN, Ambassador Piragibe has played a pivotal role in the establishment of the sectoral dialogue partnership between Brazil and ASEAN, and it will be a pleasure to hear the ambassador today. Please, you have the floor.
Thank you, Leah. Good morning to all. Good evening to the Dr. Utama, somewhere in Southeast Asia. My warm greetings to the members of this webinar. I wish to congratulate CEBRI for proposing for discussion an important topic, that of energy transition, in the context of the relations between Brazil and the Association of Southeast Asia Nations, ASEAN. The importance of ASEAN for Brazil is unequivocal. Our economic relations are remarkable. Brazil-ASEAN trade reached some $34 billion last year. In the first half of this year, it has surpassed the figures for the same period of 2022. Brazilian exports to the bloc reached $12 billion in the first semester of this year. To put these numbers into perspective, Brazil exports more to ASEAN as a whole than to Mercosur, the Middle East, or the African continent. Brazil sells more to Malaysia than to the United Kingdom, Paraguay, or Peru, more to Singapore than to Germany, Japan, or India, more to Thailand than to France. More than 45% of the total Brazilian exports are destined for the Asia-Pacific region. Our main trade routes pass through Southeast Asia, especially the Strait of Malacca. So the region is also strategically important, as it also serves as passage for our trade with other key partners in Asia. ASEAN's strong economic growth in recent decades also generates opportunities for reciprocal investments. With an average GDP growth of 5.7% between 2000 and 2019, ASEAN is attractive for Brazilian companies looking to diversify their international presence. At the same time, companies from Southeast Asia have been investing in Brazil. Singapore is already the third largest direct investor from Asia in Brazil, behind China and Japan, with an estimated stock of $17.4 billion US 2020. But beyond the economic and commercial presence aspects of our relations, Brazil and ASEAN share worldviews on many issues, like respect for international law and for guiding principles of international relations, such as peaceful resolution of conflicts, self-determination, non-intervention in domestic affairs, equality among states, international cooperation. Brazil and ASEAN are located in regions self-declared as zones of peace. Both are bound to treaties that prohibit nuclear weapons in their territories. Have in mind our shared interests in worldviews. Brazil has been seeking to strengthen ties with ASEAN and its members. One important step was Brazil's accession to the Treaty of Amity and Cooperation in Southeast Asia in 2012. A cornerstone for the development of partnership with ASEAN, the treaty has provisions aiming to promote peace, stability, and friendly relations between its parties, and Brazil was the first country from Latin America to join the treaty. It was also the first Latin American country to become a sectorial dialogue partner of ASEAN. Brazil is confident that the partnership will bring relations with ASEAN to a new level as it opens up the possibility of developing closer cooperation in several fields. To realize our cooperation and trade potential, the Brazilian government is taking steps to allocate more resources to the partnership, and in this regard, a delegation to ASEAN has been set up, based in Jakarta, and dedicated exclusively to relations with the association. A new diplomatic unit was created in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to handle our relations with ASEAN as a group. And a special envoy to ASEAN has also been instituted, the position that I hold. It is also worth mentioning that Brazil maintains accredited ambassadors to all ASEAN member countries and resident embassies in the Philippines, Indonesia, Malaysia, Myanmar, Singapore, Thailand, and Vietnam. Since 2011, the Brazilian embassy in Jakarta has also been accredited to ASEAN. It is now being substituted by a newly created delegation to be entrusted with our relations with the association. 7 ASEAN countries maintain embassies in Brasilia, and the government of Cambodia is in the process of opening a resident embassy in our capital. Very soon, we'll have 8 embassies of ASEAN members. To sum up this brief overview, I would like to emphasize that our partnership with ASEAN is rooted in shared principles and concrete interests. Brazil trusts that we will be able to raise the relationship with the association to an unprecedented level. In order to give substance to the sectorial dialogue partnership, Brazil believes it is able to offer cooperation in different areas, such as sustainable agriculture, food security, biodiversity, defense, science, technology and innovation, energy, among others. Today, I understand we are to focus on one topic in particular, energy transition, especially in connection with the more general issue of climate change. Climate change is largely an energy challenge. According to the International Energy Agency, energy is responsible for 3/4 of global greenhouse gas emissions. In this field, Brazil is in a privileged position as it has acquired a great deal of experience and developed solutions that is willing to share with our ASEAN partners. The country has by far the cleanest energy matrix among the G20 countries and one of the cleanest in the world. Renewable sources represent 47.4% of the Brazilian energy matrix. In most G20 countries, this percentage is no more than 10%. Renewables also represent 88% of the electricity generated in Brazil. The country has one of the world's least carbon-intensive energy sector. ASEAN countries have the potential to meet their growing energy demand through renewable sources, and Brazil can make available effective and economically viable solutions. Some of these solutions, if adopted, would reduce emissions in ASEAN countries in the short term at a competitive cost. The first effective solution is ethanol. Several ASEAN countries, such as Indonesia, have been open to increasing the percentage of ethanol to be blended with gasoline. It's not a high-cost solution. On the contrary, it is a practical initiative that can be carried out in the short and medium term, and it can be produced competitively in the ASEAN region in an integrated manner. Not all ASEAN countries would be able to produce large quantities of bioethanol, but they all can be part in the supply chain of ethanol, which involves technologies, car parts, machinery, genetic engineering, soil management, among other features. Other solutions to the decarbonization of energy mastered by Brazil include the use of green steel, green pig iron, bioplastics, low-carbon aluminum, among others. There is also potential for the joint development of technologies in making national electric grids more efficient, as well as for sharing experiences on regulatory issues. The Brazilian government is aware of the importance of transforming convergent interests in technical capabilities into effective cooperation. In the area of energy, in October next in Jakarta, an edition of the Ethanol Pulse seminar is to be held, focused on the potential of bioenergy to reduce emissions in the transport sector. The event is organized by the Brazilian Sugarcane Industry and Bioenergy Association, UNICA, and by the Brazil Ethanol Cluster, APLA, and supported by the Brazilian government. The government is also developing a technical cooperation project with the Philippines to help it increase the productivity of the sugarcane grown in that country. We have already hosted a mission of experts from the Philippines last January and have sent a mission to that country this month of August to advance the project. I will stop here so as to allow my colleagues who are energy specialists make their comments regarding the opportunities that can emerge from a collaboration between Brazil and ASEAN in the area of energy transition. Thank you for your attention.
For enlightening us with the main avenues and history of Brazil-ASEAN relations. I will now pass the floor to Dr. Nuki. Dr. Nuki Agiautama was appointed as the Executive Director of the Asian Center for Energy, the ACE, in August 2019. In that position, Dr. Utama is at the very center of the discussions for energy transition in ASEAN. He has a research background in energy scenario planning and holds a PhD with research on life cycle energy analysis from the University of Technology King Mong-kok. He has extensive experiences in both energy industry as well as academics and international organizations. Dr. Utama, please, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Leah. Good morning and good evening, good afternoon. Your Excellency Nargo, nice to see you. I'd like to share my slide. My name is Nuki Agiautama from the ASEAN Center for Energy. Would like to a bit discuss and present the landscape of energy in Southeast Asia and the possibilities of Brazil-ASEAN relationship and cooperation opportunities. Allow me to quickly introduce about the organization of ACE. In short, in long, we call it the ASEAN Center for Energy. We are the international organization. To be exact, we are the intergovernmental organization within the ASEAN structure that represent 10 countries, 10 member states, interested in the energy sectors. Our organization plays three main roles. First, as a think tank, we conduct studies and provide policy recommendation to 10 member states. As a catalyst, we collaborate with national, regional, and international organizations. As a knowledge hub, we are providing a data and knowledge repository and analysis. And also, we are the implementing agency for a regional blueprint energy activities. We call it the ASEAN Plan of Action for Energy Cooperation, or APAEC. Right now, the APAEC is in the phase of 2016 and 2025, and on the stage of today 2021 to 2025 stage. So it's going to be end very soon. The latest edition of APAEC is the fourth period of 2021-2025. It took the theme of enhancing energy connectivity and market integration in ASEAN to achieve energy security, affordability, accessibility, and sustainability for all. And it is showing also the importance of balancing the 4 pillars of energy cooperation. ASEAN also highlighted the importance of energy transition and resilience, as noted in the sub-theme, which should be addressed through innovation and collaboration. APAEC is a comprehensive guidance covering all aspects of energy system. This includes, first is the ASEAN Power Grid, or in short we call it APG, of which we already have 7.7 gigawatt of cross-border interconnection. And the key milestone is the recent success of Laos, Thailand, Malaysia, and Singapore PIP, or project interconnection, power interconnection projects. And the 4 countries multilateral power trade. The 100 megawatt program is to be upgraded along with the other initiatives such as PIMP, PIP, Singapore, Cambodia power trade, and 2 interconnection feasibility studies to be conducted by our organization. PIMP, we call it is Brunei, Indonesia, Malaysia, and Philippines. So currently we do have Laos, Thailand, Malaysia, and Singapore, and we are going to expand to Brunei, Indonesia, Malaysia, and Philippines. The next is the Trans-ASEAN Gas Pipeline and CCT program, or Clean Coal Technology program, highlight the crucial role of fossil fuel in securing the energy transition, regional cooperation through common gas market, and emerging technologies such as CCUS or CCS or CCU. The ENC and RE program areas put the 2025 energy transition target for ASEAN. First is to reduce energy intensity by 32% based on 2005 level, increase the share of RE in total primary energy supply to 23% in 2025, and increase the share of RE in installed power capacity to 35%. And we are progressing well with 33.6% in installed power capacity from renewable energy, and including accelerating efforts for the remaining targets. The REPP, or Regional Energy Policy and Planning, the program areas number 6, puts overall umbrella, including the development of the ASEAN Energy Outlook, Energy Climate Nexus, and also the evaluation of the current APAC and the design for the next phase, which is 2026 up until 2035. Currently, no country in the region has operating nuclear power plant. However, ASEAN also notes the potential of nuclear, especially the small medium reactors. Therefore, on the program areas number 7, we are focusing on the nuclear activities for civilian purposes. The program area is then expanded into strategies and action plan. For example, in the program area of RE, we have 6 strategies and 16 action plans. These are divided into annual milestones, and the actual activities that are conducted by member states supported by ACE is to achieve the goals and vision of APAC. And the APAC also becomes our guidance to collaborate with potential partners, for example, Brazil. And among others, outcome-based strategies number 5 focuses on the biofuel and bioenergy development, something that perhaps ASEAN and Brazil can be also working on. In exploring the potential cooperation between ASEAN and Brazil, let me share with you some of the energy situation in ASEAN. As growing economy, the energy is crucial for the region. And according to the 7 ASEAN Energy Outlook, primary energy supply need to grow up to 4 times between 2020 to 2050. With energy efficiency and conservation, it can be reduced to 3 times with national efforts and 2.7 times with regional efforts. In all scenarios, fossil fuels still dominate the energy supply mix. This comes especially from the oil product in transport sectors, also coal in power and industrial sectors. And this would create energy security issues in the region. And baseline scenario of IO7 or ASEAN Energy Outlook 7, in short we call it IO, show that the region would become the net importers of gas in 2025. And even we're going to be net importer of coal in 2039. In addition to RE, solutions such as carbon capture, utilization, and storage, hydrogen, bioenergy are very, very important. Assessment of these technologies should be done in a comprehensive way, including efficiency, resources, and material availability, and also including the end life management. ASEAN is ready to explore with Brazil on the potential of collaboration through joint research, knowledge sharing, capacity building, and other implementing or potential implemented projects activities. The energy transition can be accelerated through energy cooperation and innovation. That is what we believe and push through within ASEAN. Among others, it has been shown that the realization of ASEAN cross-border interconnection system under the ASEAN power grid is a cost-optimized solution and can lead to higher penetration of RE, including those of solar and wind. And according to the ASEAN Interconnection Master Plan Studies 3, the region has potential up to 35 gigawatts of interconnection until 2040. In the meantime, we also noted the importance of having various forms of energy storage to save energy during low demand period and provide storage power during peak hours. This is especially crucial in enabling higher penetration of RE and maintaining the power grid stability. Beyond battery, we believe exploration of pumped hydro storage can be also crucial. In the least cost optimization scenario, the region is expected to require 26.6 gigawatts of capacity to store about 1,100 gigawatt hour of electricity by 2050. And financing can become either the bottleneck and catalyst to energy transition. From the current system that is heavily dependent on fossil fuel, energy transition would require huge amount of investment. In power sectors, the importance of energy efficiency is shown by reducing demand. And according to the IO7, the investment needs range between 726 billion to 1 trillion US dollar from 2021 to 2050. And the least cost optimization scenario, which is based on cost optimization, has the lowest cost, approximately around 144 billion US dollar cheaper than the regional scenario or APS. The power mix generally favors coal and hydro over gas, solar, and wind due to the cost and due to the cost volatility and the expensive of these current gas condition. Another important parameters affecting investment is the electrification rate in the end-use sectors. RE share in power system is also important. And comparing the scenario of IO7 with the second RE outlook, if you're looking at on the graph table on the right, the two columns is the ASEAN energy outlook based on the country target and also regional target, we call it APS. On the right columns is based on the ARENA A's RE outlook report. So over there, you can see clearly the differences. First, the RE electricity generation. On the row number 3, the RE electricity generation, we assume up until 76%, 78% in the APS, and 50% in the ATS or country scenario. In ARENA and A's report on the RE outlook, we assume 60% and also 90% electricity generation coming from RE. While it's on the electricity share in total final energy supply, our scenario, the IO7, approximately between 25.5 to 27.4% in ATS and APS respectively. While it's on the RE outlook from ARENA, approximately between 30% and 52%. On the last column is the 1.5 degree scenario. So if you're looking at the two rows, those are the differences. If we have a different assumption on the more generation power coming from RE and more electrification on the demand side, and then the implication in the investment. In investment, the power sectors in our scenario approximately between 700 to 800 billion US dollar, while it's on the ARENA RE outlook for ASEAN between 1.2 trillion up until 3.7 trillion US dollar. If you're looking at the investment for all energy, in an RE outlook is approximately around 2.6 trillion up until 7.4 trillion in 1.5 degree scenarios. So we can see the differences if you're looking at on the assumption where you having more generating capacity coming from RE, there are consequences, especially if you want to push your end use by using electricity, either in industrial sectors or transport sectors, there will be also consequences. So these consequences have to be borne by all countries, especially 10 countries in Southeast Asia. And we have to really careful on choosing the future direction in terms of the policy regarding with the RE issues. And from the demand perspective, the energy consumption is also expected to increase up to 1.3 million ton oil equivalent. And again, the ENC efforts could reduce the energy consumption by 53.7% in 2050 in comparison with the baseline. You can see over here, the industry and transport sectors continue to be the highest energy consuming in the region throughout the projection. And in terms of the fuel, oil product remain the largest to be consumed, with 47% share in 2050 baseline and reduced to 38% in regional scenario for the same year. And as one of the highest consuming sectors, transport still dominated by oil products during projection period, constitute 91% of share in baseline scenario in 2050, and reduced to 82% and 72% in target scenario or country scenario, and also APS scenario respectively. And all fuels are reduced with slight increase of electricity in ATS and biofuel in regional scenario. Biofuel is one of the key technologies for energy transition in ASEAN. We identified that 6 countries in ASEAN have defined specific biofuel policies. As you can see in the slide, among them 5 countries in Southeast Asia have blending mandates. For example, Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines, Thailand. They are major biofuel producers. And these countries have approximately up to B40 targets. For example, Indonesia has launched B35, and currently ethanol 85 is in Thailand. ASEAN also has a high potential of biofuel in key countries. The biofuel feedstock generally in the form of CPO, for example, countries like Indonesia and Malaysia, coconut oil, also sugarcane, and others like cassava and peach. The slides also show the amount of production of the feedstock in the biofuel. However, biofuel production still needs to be increased to help ASEAN countries target. The ASEAN Energy Outlook 7 provides key analysis in terms of the land use for biofuel. This is quite interesting. About 8.8 million hectares of land is required to produce biodiesel, if we assume coming from palm oil, and 2.3 million hectares for bioethanol, if we assume coming from sugarcane, up until 2050, approximately totally in approximately around 2.5% of the member state land mass. It is noted that the land area of Southeast Asia is about 450 million hectares, and with more than 20 million hectares is currently utilized for oil palm plantation. So we can increase our land use up until 10 to 11 million hectares to provide enough bioenergy or biofuel for the transport sectors and industrial sectors. This is what happening last week during ASEAN ministerial meeting, back-to-back with ASEAN Energy Business Forum, the first inter-regional energy forum, or in short, we call it IREF. Over there, we have a quite specific theme, which is strengthening the efforts towards energy transition. And we invite a representative from region like Latin America, which is represented by OLADE, South Asia, represented by SARC, Energy Center, and Africa, which is represented by the African Energy Commission, AFREC, from African Union. And also, it was some of the IOs also present. For example, like United Nations ESCAP, the regional Asia Pacific, ASEAN Development Bank, IEA, GIZ case, Energy Transition Partnerships, led by UNOPS, USAID, SPP, and also CRE from China. And the idea of this IRF is to serve as introductory forum for potential inter-regional collaboration platform in energy through knowledge sharing, capacity building, joint projects, policy dialogues, energy investment forums, and also other cooperative efforts. And we seek to achieve secure, accessible, affordable, and sustainable energy for all. This is the first IRF, is a historic milestone to start the journey, noting the shared challenges amidst various circumstances. All partners last week agreed on the importance of inter-regional collaboration and committed to pursue further activities. We also discussed on the challenges, the potential collaboration, the energy mapping in every region, and also the potential activities in the coming years. And the issue of balanced energy transition is important. Joint research, institutional capacity, and discussion of the critical minerals, and rare earths, also something that we discussed last week. From Olade, Mr. Medardo Cadena, the Director of Studies, Project and Information, was there. And also, we learned that Brazil is one of the highest biofuel consuming nation globally, with 1/4 of transportation fuel coming from biofuel. And also, you can also use bioethanol 100% by using flex engine in your passenger cars. That's something that perhaps Southeast Asia can learn. Not only the technology of the vehicle itself, but also the regulation of the agriculture, how you start with this agriculture rules and law, for example, and others things that perhaps lead to the current situation that you can provide 100 ethanols for replacing the gasoline. I think collaboration between ASEAN and Brazil can also elevate this forum and platform that currently we are developing, and looking forward for further discussion in the coming years. I think for that, I'm ending my slides. Thank you very much, Leah, for these opportunities. I'm open for the discussion. Thank you.
That was very interesting to hear how Asian countries are mobilizing to set their path on net zero engagements and decarbonization. Before we move to the discussion, I would like to pass the floor now to Juliana Nascimento. Juliana is an analyst at the Biofuel Studies Department at Empresa de Pesquisa Energética, EPE, the energy research company, with degrees in chemical engineering and chemistry at two of the most prestigious research institutions in Rio, the US and UFRJ, as well as an MBA and a master's degrees in chemical and biochemical processes. Mrs. Nascimento worked at Petrobras and at the federal government, and she is in a good position to enlighten us today on the cooperation between Brazil and ASEAN on the energy transition, and more generally on what steps Brazil is taking on this energy transition path. Please, Juliana, you have the floor.
Hello. Let me share my presentation here. So, first of all, I'd like to thank you for the invitation. It's an honor to be here representing my company, EPE, the Energy Research Office, and also to represent the Brazilian Ministry of Mines and Energy. As I was presented, my name is Juliana Rangel do Nascimento. I am an energy research analyst working with biofuels. So first, I'd like to present my company. And EPE is a federal policy institute. We are attached to Ministry of Mines and Energy. Our purpose is to provide energy information studies and research that support all the national energy planning and to collaborate to decision making on energy policy. All the studies are provided into our site, into our homepage, www.epe.gov.br. And you can see all the studies we produce there. We have an English version also. So let's begin. To start, I'd like to give you a general overview of Brazil. In terms of territory, as you can see, we almost represent a continent. We are the fifth country in terms of territory. Our numbers are huge. We have more than 200 million people. We are considered the third largest economy, and we are among the 10th largest crude oil producers. And we can say that we are taking a leading role in the EPE sector. After the pre-salt discovery, we engage in a very high position into this kind of production. But we are not focused on not only into producing oil, but also to produce biofuels. And we may say that we are blessed with an abundance of research, such as we have the pre-salt, as I already said. It became to make us to become one of the major producers and exporters of crude oil. We have very potential for wind power and also to solar. We are the fourth largest agricultural producer, and we have an immense bioenergy potential. And in terms of hydroelectric production, we are considered the second largest in the world. And we have some considerable potential for reversible plants. Sorry. Oh, sorry. Okay. So we have to look to the matrix of Brazil, especially considering the energy matrix. We may say that we are one of the most considerable renewable energy country, because if you look at the numbers of 2021, we have 40% of renewable energy into our matrix. And according to the forecast that EPE does, we may consider that in 2031, we will keep this number. Almost 50% of our matrix will be considered renewable. It is important to analyze it, consider the numbers of the world. When we look at this graphic, we may say that looking at the energy sector compared to other great economies in the world, as you can see, the 2 ready points in the graphic, you will see that the Brazilian is considered one of the most renewables energy country in the world. And we may also say that we are a leader in biotechnology and bioenergy. bringing again the numbers you already saw, looking at the world, they are considered just 40%, 14% of renewable, and we are considered 45% nowadays, and in the future, almost 50%. It's important also to see what we produce to be considered as a renewable energy country. Looking at the plants, we may say that we have more than 360 plants for producing ethanol, and more than 50 plants producing biodiesel in Brazil. And looking at the numbers, we will see that our demand forecast is increasing day by day. So in 10 years, our forecast is for increasing at least 30% of demand. And we may say that to supply that, biofuels play an important role in the decarbonization of our matrix. We can see that during the past, when we started the programs of Proalco, for example, in the 50s and in the 70s, and also keep going with different programs and different politics, we got to increase the participation of biofuels into our matrix. Some points contribute to accelerate this process. One of them is the producer of flex fuel vehicles that allow to use gasoline or to use ethanol, or even a mix of both of them. Also, the availability of sugarcane and other materials to produce ethanol and to produce energy in less analysis, and also an infrastructure that make possible the use of ethanol, and also an effort of the country in order to decarbonization of to pace the decarbonization of our matrix, and in order to reduce emission, and without needing to commit a specific route of producing biofuels. And to make all that possible, it was important to see the investments Brazil are doing in to increase its production. We are using our vocation for producing, and as you can see, we have many projects and great investments to increase the number of ethanol units of first generation, also second generation, plants for corn ethanol. We're also investing in units for producing biodiesel, and also to produce new biofuels, such as sustainable aviation fuels, and also hydrotreated vegetable oils. The total of this investment is something like $12.2 million in total, without considering the biogas investments. And to make all that programs and all that investments concrete, we must analyze all the politics and all the programs that Brazil is creating, and sometimes following international programs to invest in the producing of biofuels. We may start with the Proalco that was in the 70s, and it makes the addition of anhydrous ethanol into gasoline mandatory. We have some differentiation of ethanol and gasoline in order to incentivize the use of ethanol. Then almost 20 years after it, we implement the program for producing biodiesel. And also in the end of the 2010, we started with programs following international programs such as COSIA, and also we started with a politic of Renovabil, that is a politic to reduce the carbon intensity into transport matrix in Brazil, incentivizing and expanding the use of biofuels, and also create a carbon market and to offset the emission of greenhouse gases by fossil fuels. Most recently, we have a specific program to develop the producer of hydrogen, and to finish and the programs that we are showing here. We have the combustíveis of futuro, fuels of future, that is considered a program to increase the use of sustainable fuels and low carbon fuels also, for application into vehicles technology, especially using biofuels. And to put all these politics in practice, we have to study on a strategy to get it. So what we see is that we have an alignment force to avoid climate change and to preserve the environmental. We are working with a very strategic politic to social and economic development. We can use the energy as a fundamental factor to get it. We work also with energy security, and we have to manage the level of exposure of energy supply risks. And the cost of energy is also a factor that we know that is important to consider in international economy, and to make Brazil be possible to be inside of it. So as a closing remarks, what I'd like to bring to you is that, as you see, Brazil is a continental country, full of power research in oil, sugar, ethanol, soil, and many types of bioenergy. We are committed to reduce carbon intensity, adjusting the energy to a transition journey with different technology alternatives and different types of biofuels. We have an abundance and diversity of energy research to comply with the NDCs. And in terms of regulatory framework, we are working hard on it. We have approved a series of programs, as I showed you, to incentivize biofuels and to incentivize energy market development, especially to clean energy. And considering the importance of Brazil into biofuels market, we may say that we have a great potential to establish relations with different countries and set to unfold great opportunities with biofuel economy and in fact bioeconomy in a global scale. And as we may say, we are open to establish trade relations in terms of energy with the world, especially with Asian countries. And just to show you that, just to make an example of it, I bring here some recent news showing that how we are working to increase the participation of Brazil into this energy transition, and how we can try to use our potential to produce energy, and how the relations are established with the Asian market. I brought some examples of Petrobras, how the company is dealing with the Asian market. So I'd like to thank you for the invitation again, and all the audience here.
Wonderful, Juliana. Thank you for this presentation. We are reaching the last minutes of our webinar here today, but I wouldn't want to miss the opportunity to hear one last time each one of you maybe address one last closing question, and do not hesitate to share your closing remarks as well. Ambassador Tarago, going with you first, perhaps. Brazil will be hosting the G20 next year, and you've presented, and we've seen today here in this webinar some of the potentials, but also some of the challenges to this energy transition, including the challenge that Dr. Tama mentioned of financing and the need for more financing of these technologies. How do you see Brazil's role as a G20 host next year to enhance cooperation on these issues and maybe reorient financing to this field? And do you see G20 as potentially being a forum for more discussions on this matter and more protagonism for Brazil in the future?
Thank you. Thank you for the question. I'd like to say that Brazil's energy strategy is very much on the top of our political agenda. And we will certainly take it to the main forums for discussions. We are taking it to the G20, yes, integrated with the issue of decarbonization, of the challenges that we face to address climate change. And we think Brazil is in a very good position to address this issue. And also, as ASEAN countries are concerned, I'd like to say that we are very open to any sort of cooperation we can develop in this area. We are confident that we have great potential of our experiences is very immense in this area, as expressed and shown by Dr. Juliana's presentation. And we are ready to share that with our partners in ASEAN, and also to G20 as a main guiding political forum for the international economy. Thank you.
Now, one final question for Dr. Tama. From Marcelo Souza, President of Brazil-Thai Chamber of Commerce in Bangkok, Thailand. He perceives that there's a certain resistance to the use of ethanol in the ASEAN region and would like to ask, why is that? Do you have the same perception that governments in the region have been reluctant to adopt green ethanol as a solution? Could you tell us a bit more about that in your final remarks, please?
Thank you, Leah. I think the bioenergy is becoming more important in the recent years. Starting into year 2000, the region becoming the net importers of oil and heavily subsidies on this transportation fuel. Therefore, we need to find some alternative sources. We realized that the pressure coming from Europe on this CPO, but we also concern our energy security as a priority. So within our region itself, the demand is very, very high, and even though we try to make sure that the supply is enough, and most importantly is the prices is affordable. So security and affordability becoming the very important a target or achievement that we need to do. That's why we try our best to increase the blending fuel coming from biodiesels or bioethanols in that sense. Either it is using the current plantation method or green plantation strategies. Both ways, at the moment, we're looking at the potential to increase the share of these bioethanol and biodiesels with affordable prices, Leah. So again, affordability and security right now is a priority in Southeast Asia. Thank you.
Now I turn to Juliana for one last question from Antonio Botella. Can you comment on the CO2 reduction impact of successive biofuel programs of the last 2 decades in Brazil, and how the next generation programs will impact such reductions? And I will add just one last question as well from Thiago Osti. Do you see any avenues for cooperation between Brazil and ASEAN regarding technology and research and development being implemented in the coming years as well?
So talking about the first question, I'd like to invite all the audience to visit a page. I'll show you here. There is we make a document called Análise de Conjuntura dos Biocombustíveis. We make it, it's a annual publication, and it has a specific section that shows the CO2, all the greenhouse gases avoided. I'll show you here. I'll share my screen here in order to show it. And here it's possible to see the emission, the avoided emission here with ethanol, with also biodiesel, and also with bioelectricity. So we may say that this kind of fuel play an important role into reduce the CO2 emission and other gases. And we see that each year, when we increase the production of biofuels, we reduce the production of CO2. Now we are working with different kinds of new types of biofuels that probably will use the CO2 from other industry, such as steel, such as paper industry, and they can convert it into syngas. They can be captured and use it to produce syngas in order to produce, for example, synthetic fuels and also hydrogen. And the second question, I forgot. Sorry.
Opportunities for cooperation and technology between ASEAN and Brazil, if there are any.
Yeah, something that I think that is important is we have an abundance of research and feedstocks, but we have some problems with technology. And what we see is that we need to look for it. We have something that the other countries does not have, that is the feedstock. And they have, many of them has the technology we need. So I think we have to be in accordance to share what we have. But the technology, it can be developed in order to use any type of feedstock. It cannot be specific. You cannot develop a technology specific for a feedstock of Europe. It must be a general technology that can be applied to any feedstock, considering all the different feedstock you can find in the world. So I think that we should share what we have the best, you know? So if they have the technology, we are open to receive it and to understand and to work with them in specific projects of research and development, you know?
Wonderful. Well, we are now reaching the closing of our webinar. Thank you so much to all the speakers for being here today and sharing with us their thoughts and ideas on how to further cooperation between the two countries. This is one landmark of opportunities for cooperation, and I'm sure in the future we will see more, and also more CEBRI events on these issues. So thank you to all. Thank you all also to our sponsor, BOCOM BBM Bank, and I wish you all a very good day or a very good evening.
Thank you. Have a nice morning. Thank you, Excellency.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you, Lena.